What's good, everybody? It's your girl Aniston here with Hip Hop Mindset, and I'm so excited to announce the next guest that we have for our fifth episode of After Hour Sessions. We have the one and only Big Will Simmons.
What's good, y'all? How you guys doing?
I'm so excited that Will's here today because he told me that this is his first ever podcast.
Yeah, I've never done a podcast before. I've only not seen, but watched or listened to them.
Right.
So this is the perfect host to start my first one with.
Oh, thanks, Will. You're gonna make me blush. Stop. Thank you. But guys, to those who don't know, this is Big Will Simmons. He has been a part of so many projects. He's even performed in the Super Bowl just to gas him up a little bit. But he's an amazing dancer, choreographer, just visionary, artist in general. And you guys are gonna learn so much today, and we're gonna hear a little bit about his dance journey. So to start it off, tell us a little bit about your dance journey, William.
Whoa, not the full name,
Not
not
the
the
full
William. Yeah, so a little bit about my dance journey is, am I a little too close to the mic? Am I?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, I'll be here.
You go ahead and get yourself
That's why I
comfortable.
was like, hey, peep out the mixtape coming out soon.
Oh, watch
But yeah, no, a little bit about my dance journey. I actually started dancing at the age of 5 due to my sister, who's 5 years older than me. She was born with a club foot. So they had to do surgery on her foot, which means your ankle's not like this. It's
Just like my
broken.
spine's got
Yeah.
scoliosis.
Scoliosis, that's
Yes,
right.
sir.
We do have scoliosis. But yeah, no, so she was born with a club foot. So they did surgery. And then they said the only way for her to really naturally fix it is through ballet. So she was really born
Interesting.
into dance. And then, 5 years later, I came out. And then another 5 years, I was watching her. And my grandma was like, oh, you should put him into class. He's naturally moving to music.
Right.
Got into jazz, ballet, and tap instantly, which I know, right? That's so not me right now. But yeah, I got into that first. And then I was like, let's try some hip hop. And I stayed with it ever since then. And next thing you notice, I went from joining a team called TM Tots under the Team Millennium organization.
Shout out.
Shout out to them. They were my first hip hop crew. And then I went into Miniotics.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
First generation Miniotics, went into Underground, and then first generation of Gravy Babies.
Dang.
And then I joined the industry at the age of 10, and I've been here ever since.
He said 10. So you've been rocking in dance for a minute.
Yeah, I am about to be in 13 years in this dance industry and 10 years with my agency.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're with MSA?
I'm with MSA, yeah.
MSA, let's go. Oh my gosh, I was signed with MSA for the longest time. And then I started making more music and
Oh.
yeah, sadly.
But,
we love MSA.
I love MSA. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to TT. Shout out to Nikki.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Megan.
So you also choreograph now. For you, that's been dancing forever, right? Were there any specific moments in your career that you were dancer to choreographer, this is interesting, you curating your own style and whatnot?
I think me personally, I kind of was dabbling into teaching at a younger age.
Okay.
Just through we're going to set up a workshop and just give you the experience. And then my very first ever real choreography was through Gravy Babies when I was 16.
I've seen so many of your sets that you choreographed, and literally they're so fire.
Thank you. Yeah, they put a lot of work into it. So they asked me to choreograph an entire piece, and David, has been kind of grooming me and growing me and working on how I should form my choreography and the vision and the formations on it. And he trusted me with the very first time I did it, and he enjoyed it. And then ever since then, I've been choreographing for all their sets, and then that kind of brought that over into the industry, into that style. So it's been really nice to kind of see where I started into where I'm at now.
What for you do you think is the hardest part of choreographing for sets like that? Because you're going up against a bunch of different teams, and I feel like Gravy and GRV have their such a specific style of transition and choreography. So what for you do you think you struggle with the most in the midst of choreographing sets?
Honestly, it's actually really funny is that whenever I choreograph for Gravy, it's like the only time I can like fully push my boundaries on choreography. Just because that is like my main style. That's like my home. So whenever like I'm teaching at like other studios, like I don't really go that full out because it is a very specific and physical training that you have to do
Totally.
and ability to even execute the choreography correctly.
Right.
So whenever I train at the GFAM, they understand it. They've been through it multiple times. Either it's their
Right.
first set or like their third set. They know how it works.
Right.
So I think the most challenging thing is trying to try something different that doesn't look the same and bring something new to the table. Especially just because like there is like 6 other choreographers under one set for the most part.
Right.
So it's like, how can I make my section different than everybody else's and what makes me special?
Okay. I see that because I feel like you're such an whenever you teach like a normal class per se, like Millennium here, wherever, I genuinely feel like you have such a specific way of teaching. And the way that you formate and like set out your classes is just so specific. Like you teach in such a great way and you like articulate so well. Because
Thank you.
of the fact that your choreography is so like intense and fast and hardcore.
Thank you. Yeah, that is definitely something. It took years to even format that type of structure within my classes.
Right.
Like even now, when I'm teaching, if it's like an hour class, I'm teaching 8/8 counts, which is usually about 30 seconds when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I teach the first 4 8 counts, break that down within I would say 15, 20 minutes, and then 10 minutes is just doing it with music, or at least about 8 to 5
Right.
is for sure with music, and then teach the rest music groups. If we video, we video. So like I'm very much a structure person.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to breaking down the movements, it's do you understand the movement? Because sometimes, even for me, I may not get it right away, but do I understand it enough to go home and practice it?
I see you. I see you. I see you.
So that's why I like to break down with so much detail and so much structure on what I'm doing and like what I'm listening to, what am I hearing within the music,
Right.
and like hitting, just so people can go home and they don't second guess it.
I see you. And like build that confidence like based off of that. So tell the audience a little bit about like your like your way of choreography because I've seen it and I've sessioned a little bit with you, like literally just here and there, and I've seen the way that you choreograph and it just comes to you so quickly. Like it really is mind blowing to me. So tell the audience how just kind of explain like your choreography methods and like what has built and made you grow as a choreographer rather than just a dancer.
So it's actually really funny. I'm actually gonna be doing that today with the 240 FX, where I'm like, okay, I
so
have
mad
like
I can't be there.
I know I have a structure pretty much. I know what the sections are, but I have zero choreography. I'm gonna just kind of do it on the spot like how I do with my normal concept videos.
Right.
Just to kind of give them that real experience and training with me where it doesn't feel too planned, it doesn't feel too like professional. I want it to really feel like
Organic.
a authentic, organic concept video with me.
Tight.
Because that's literally how I do all my videos. It's literally just on the spot. I mean,
Yeah.
I just be creating on the spot and I'm like, okay, cool, let's go.
It brain farts me. Like literally I'll be watching it and I'm like, ooh. Like it makes me genuinely like baffled. Because of the fact that you do it so fast. Like it just comes so naturally to you and your movement is so natural and organic already that it just kind of like spews out once you hear the song.
Yeah, so what I do is I like on the way to the studio or like on the way to the sessions, I'll put the song on repeat. So if it's like a 30-minute drive, I'm literally listening to it for 30 minutes, 10-minute drive, whatever it is, just so like I already know what my musicality is. I already know what the words are. For the most part, I'm really bad with lyrics, but I semi-know what the lyrics are and
like,
stuff
what's
like
going on
that.
in the
And like what's
song.
going on. Like, is there a
Right.
build into it? Is there a groove that could happen? Especially if it's like, formations too. Like what formation changes can I have? What are like the textures? What are the dynamics?
Jeez.
So with choreography, it's like I think about the movement first with the music, and then I think about other things later.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's really fun. I like choreographing on the spot. I like, challenging myself and, creating it within 30 minutes. I've done things where I'm like, okay, I'm put a timer on for 10 minutes and let's see how far I can create within this piece.
I'm trying to see that piece that he choreographed in 10 minutes because it's probably fire. It's always like the one, I feel like it's always the ones that like you kind of just come up with off the top of your head that's like always turns out like fire.
Yeah, those are honestly my favorite ones. Like right now, one of my favorite pieces is Cashing Out.
Okay.
and
Oh, yo. 8 down.
Lay It Down. A lot of people thought like
How does
that.
that song go?
The Lay it down, the lay your
Yeah,
head.
yeah,
Yeah.
you ate down on
Oh,
that
thank
piece.
you. I was like, ate down. Okay, got you. But like a lot of people thought that like, oh, I like rehearsed this, or I've been creating it for like 2 weeks and then I put it on people, and I'm like, no,
No.
we rent out the space for 2 hours. I walk in, we play the song a few times. I start creating. It usually takes about 20 minutes to create, 20, 30. And then obviously there's talking in between because that's just, it's what the boys do.
Just be happening.
Yeah, it just happens. And then from there, I kind of clean them. The two dancers that I'm with, put it on video, see how it looks. If I have to change anything, because sometimes movement can read very well to yourself, but it doesn't read on camera.
Other people or whatever.
Yeah, so like
Interesting.
I like to like do like a mark run through,
Yeah.
see that, then I make changes. And then from there, I'm like, okay, cool, let's start filming it. We take about 3-4 takes max.
What?
And then we're done. And we
Oh,
usually
3,
just talk.
4 takes max. I'd be like, help. Somebody
I
help
hope.
me.
But yeah, no, honestly, those are my favorite pieces. Are usually the ones that I'm sessioning with people.
Interesting. I love that because also you're kind of like building off of each other's like energy and like the vibe at that specific moment.
Yeah, especially because like sometimes to inspire myself, I'll get dancers that I know that can move a certain way to a song that I'm envisioning. So I just want them in my space, just so I'm like, okay, I envision you, but I'm still trying to choreograph. So like, how can I utilize you to make my picture come to life?
Dude, your brain just amazes me, Will. I can't even lie. Like literally, I've known you for years and your brain still amazes me. The way that it works, the way that you just spew things out of it. Like it's just crazy. Like it's how natural it is to you. Like choreographing, dancing, like all of the
Thank
above.
you, thank
Yeah.
you.
So you've been in dance your whole life. Outside of dance, what are some hobbies? I know them, but the people don't know them. Tell them what's going on.
So I also act as well, which
Ow.
has been a great, really fun journey as well. I've done a role on Never Have I Ever, and
Ow.
I have a role that I technically, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but when does this come out?
Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not allowed to say, but just know I have a role on a show that ends, and I'm on the season finale.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, nobody knows this.
This is so tight. I'm so excited.
I was like,
When are
this
you-
is exclusive.
When are you like releasing this information so that we can know?
The week the episode's going to drop, just because I am in the season finale, so it would be like a lot of spoilers for the show. So I'm not allowed to say anything, and I kind of been trying to keeping it a secret, which has been so hard because everyone's been tweeting about this show and talking about it. But when I'm ready to post it, like you guys will know, you'll know.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm sitting here like cliffhanging.
Like,
Like, but also like I feel like you do so much like tumbling. Please tell us, where did you learn how to tumble?
okay, so I had
Even I
I
wanna
had
know.
like a gymnastics background, which was fun, but just due to income and not having enough money back in the day,
Right.
I stepped out of gymnastics so my parents can
okay.
keep paying for my sister's dance programs and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then when I got older, I like kind of had it barely, nothing too crazy. And then
Backflip or two.
Exactly. And then shout out to Gabe de Guzman because he was
Hey,
always
shout out.
my what's it called? He was always my opposite or always my bookend on shows. So they would always be like, okay, guys, who can flip? And then Gabe would raise his hand and they're like, okay, Will, can you flip because you're his opposite? And I'm like,
Gabe's like pushing you.
yeah, I guess.
I could try.
Yeah, so I ended up ordering a little mat off of what's it called? Not Amazon. What's the other? eBay.
eBay. Oh my gosh.
I ordered like a little
haven't heard of
gymnastics
eBay in so
mat.
long.
Exactly, right? On eBay. And then next thing you notice, I started tricking outside on concrete, which hurt a lot. Because if
Yeah.
you don't land it, it's gonna hurt.
That messes up everything.
Everything. So like the first few times I was like in a lot of pain. And then I was
Dang.
like, okay, you know what? I need to start landing these. And that's how I started like getting back into my gymnastics and getting back
Right.
into tricks, was doing it on concrete, which I don't recommend. Do not do that. Please
Don't
get
do
like
it.
proper training.
Don't do it.
But for me, in my mental, it worked.
That's what was going on. You know what? I've seen you do some like crazy tricks. What do you think is probably like one of your favorites?
Honestly,
To like just like bust out.
one of my favorites to bust out is usually either a side flip or a B twist. So like
Yeah, I
I've
don't know what either
done.
of those are, but they sound really cool.
So like a V twist is like, imagine like a butterfly, right? You know what a
Okay.
butterfly is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The same movement as a butterfly, but when you're in the air, you do a full 360 and then
Oh,
land.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm face first in the floor. For
See,
sure.
it's not that bad. I mean, well, for me, it's not that bad. I like B twists just because not a lot of people in the industry know how to do them.
Yeah.
Because it is very much like a tricking move, and rather than just like, hip hop tricks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then honestly, a side flip just because I can do it off of anything.
Off of anything like a platform surface?
Uh huh. Yeah, like
Could you
I've
do it
done
like
it.
floor, like on the floor, just like,
Yes, I can.
dude, what?
Yeah, no, I actually, it's really cool. I learned, I had to do a side flip slash like tricking sequence with Gabe actually for The Little Mermaid back in 2019. We did the Little Mermaid
I
musical.
remember that. You ate it up.
Thank you. And honestly, it was really fun because we had to do it off of a seven steps of like a staircase.
7 steps is high.
Yeah, and the way they built it was like actually really far too. So like we kind of had to like run and like do this whole like side flip off, and if you land it properly, obviously, then you're fine. And then after I did that, I was like, I can do side flips off of anything.
Literally thinking about that just gave me like so much anxiety. That is so scary to me. Because I personally cannot do like tricks or anything like that.
A
I could do an
cartwheel.
aerial.
You can do it. That's a trick. Think about it. Not a
It's
lot
like-
of people know how to do aerials. Like I technically don't know how to do an aerial.
What?
I'm not flexible like that, so I can't.
But you could do like a butterfly.
But I can do a side flip, which is why
Yeah.
it's easier for me because I can tuck.
Oh,
Opening my
okay,
legs for an
okay.
aerial, I'm like,
You're like,
a little
"Help me."
sore. Exactly.
Right. So speaking of the Little Mermaid, what have been like other projects that you've done that you would consider like, oh yeah, like that was tight, or like you just had like fun doing? Period.
Honestly, some of my most memorable ones. I think my most memorable one is definitely "This Is America" with Childish Gambino,
Dude, that was crazy.
which it was a great experience to work on the entire project, especially just because I've worked with the director before. Years ago on on Never Catch Me with Kendrick Lamar and Flying Lotus, when I was like, I think 15, and Keone Mari choreographed it. And it was really fun, and they called me back like years later and was like, hey, we have this music video, we want you to come in. Like, we've already had auditions, which I had no clue they had auditions for this. So I came in for like the 4th round for callbacks. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I'll come in. And I walked in and everybody in the room was like, were you here for the auditions? And I was like, no. They just brought me in. Like, I was like, y'all had auditions? Like, this not your first one? They're like, no, it's our 4th one. I was
You
like,
just came in and tore up the whole dance floor.
yeah, I was like, oh,
I'm
that's
sorry,
awkward.
guys.
But yeah, no, we came in. We found out it was Childish Gambino when we booked the job.
That's so
The
tight.
choreographer was Sherry Silver. Shout out to you.
Shout out.
Loved her just because of her energy, and she really taught us like history on like African moves since she is from there. So it was really nice. And then obviously when the video dropped, it was when a lot of things were happening, especially with BLM and George Floyd, and COVID hit. So people were really watching our
What was
video.
that? 2021?
2020.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it really like I said, when it dropped, like everybody was really watching. It
was definitely
they were paying
impactful.
attention. Yeah. We had a lot of conversations based around our video.
Wow.
And that was, amazing to see and have these open and honest conversations with people.
Right.
I think another few jobs is obviously Super Bowl. The first time with Miss Elliott, which was like insane. I was working with the choreographer was Trisha Miranda that I was working with.
We love Trisha.
Love Trisha. But that was honestly a great experience. And then the second time working on it with The Weeknd.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, 2-time Super Bowl
Two-time Super Bowl.
performer.
So that, honestly, like I said, it blew my mind. It was so much fun. Absolutely loved it. Especially just dancing alongside so many of my peers.
Yeah.
And people that I grew up with or looked up to, and really getting to share the stage with them was absolutely unreal.
That's tight.
And then I think probably my last thing I would say is like working with BTS.
Okay, BTS. That is insane. Their fan base is
Their fan base
crazy.
is crazy. Like the moment they found out what hotel we were staying at in Vegas,
Oh,
it was a wrap. Like,
Oh, it was in Vegas?
yeah, we performed in Vegas.
That's wild. That's
So,
wild. That's a lot of people, I bet. How many people were there? You know?
we had about dancer
Dancer
wise.
wise.
I think we probably had about 25, about 25, 30
Okay.
dancers.
That's a lot of dancers.
Yeah.
But I mean, they need that many dancers because the stage that they perform on is
It's
normally
huge.
humongous.
And it's crazy because, like, I mean, as you know, as an artist, what people do on stage is when you have a big crowd, you have something called in-ears.
Yeah.
And even the dancers, we had our own, like, not crazy expensive ones, but like we had our own like little in-ears to have for the music,
Right,
and
because
an
it is
audio
so
pack
loud.
because it is so loud.
Yep.
And even with the in-ears, you can't hear the track because people are just screaming the entire
Yes.
time. So like for us, you know, and sometimes it is nice to like take it out and just hear the cheering
Right.
on certain songs, like especially when Boy Is Love, we were playing our instruments for the choreography, and I just took out my ears just to hear the crowd sing. And like it's moments like that I love because I love
tight.
performing like live stages.
Yeah. I mean, you also you've been on tour before.
Yes.
Is that a mental challenge for you at all or no? Or are you kind of just like, oh yeah, tour life?
It can be. So like my first like tour was on with Macy's.
Oh, okay.
Macy's Glamorama tour.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I did that for 2 years. I was like a month of like flying realistically. And then my second tour was with Kenzie Ziegler. And pretty much
Slay. I remember that. That was so good. I would like watch your videos. I'm like, well.
Yeah, that was honestly a lot of fun just because that was my first time realistically dancing for an artist.
Okay.
So I'm very thankful that she brought me in. And then also meeting some of like my favorite guys now is just pretty much. Which go listen to their music.
Oh
They're
my
really
gosh,
tight.
pretty much. Yes.
They're really dope.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, so I got to work with them, and that was, like I said, was a great experience. And then, you know, transitioning from a 30-minute set to now, I was like, okay, great. Like, who's the next artist? TLC. Woo! That was a hard experience because like I said, I'm used to dancing realistically 6 minutes, 7 minutes max for
Yeah.
GRV.
Yeah.
And then for Kenzie, we danced for 30 minutes. And then they're like, okay, great. Now we're going to dance for 75 minutes.
Yeah, because it's like a concert set.
It's an actual
so
concert.
It's back to back to
Exactly.
back.
Especially because now that we're headlining, instead of opening for an artist, you know,
Right.
we're dancing 75.
Oh
And
my God.
TLC, if you don't know them, they dance the
Hella.
entire show.
Yeah.
So we're off on stage for probably 6 minutes out of 75. Yeah, so our first show, we were gassed out. So it's more of a mental thing. It's just obviously trying to remember the choreography because it is a lot.
Right.
But it's more of a physical thing as
It
well.
takes a physical toll on your body.
Yeah, like I am going back on tour, so it's like I've been making sure I'm eating the right things. I am making sure that, you know, I'm mentally prepared, I'm emotionally prepared, I am
Yeah.
physically prepared. I'm going to the gym even more, making sure that
We peep it. We see it.
Oh yeah,
He be doing his
my little push-ups, but you know what I mean? Just like making sure that like, am I doing everything necessary to
Right.
present myself in the best way possible when I am on stage?
I see you. I see you. You love to see it. When are you leaving for tour again?
So I'm not supposed to say, but
okay.
there are 2 tours, and the first one I do leave on is the 22nd, and then I get back and I have a week off, and then I leave and go straight for TLC.
Period. Everybody give it up for Will.
Thank you.
Cheering. Applause. Applause sounds insert now. So what are your upcoming goals for 2023? What is it that you want to accomplish? And yeah.
I think for me, for 2023 was to create more concept videos. That was a real big goal of mine just because I felt like I've always had a vision.
Well, luckily for
And
you, we're doing 240 effects today.
240. So it's, you know, it's like it is, like I said, it's a huge goal of mine that I've really wanted to accomplish.
Right.
I think also was to get into more of my acting side
Yeah.
and then get into more stunts. I love
Stunt.
stunt training, like fight choreography. I absolutely love it. I've always wanted to dabble more into it, so I've been taking it very seriously in the
Yeah.
beginning of, or like the middle of January.
Okay.
And I train twice a week with Mike Chat, who is with XMA. He was the Blue Power Ranger, and I think if I get this wrong, don't get mad at me. Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
You know what? I could totally see Will I could totally see you in like a superhero type of thing going on because I know that you're really into like Marvel, right?
Yes.
Stop. Casting, Disney, come through.
I'm trying to go for the Miles Morales role.
Oh, that would be crazy.
I even auditioned for a Power Ranger, and I auditioned like 8 times. But it was sad just because they were like, "You're too short."
What?
Well,
Foul.
because the male Power Rangers have to be at least 5'9".
5'9"?
Yeah.
Well,
And
they
then
do look huge in films.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the female Power Rangers have to be at least like 5'5", 5. No, like 5'6".
Oh,
5'7".
I'd never make it. I'm 5'2".
See, I'm 5'6".
You
on
know
a
what?
good day.
What? They could make the exception because you are exceptional, period.
See, they only did that for one season where they had a little kid become a Power Ranger, but like it was a little weird.
You know
so I
what?
don't
It's
think they
okay.
did it again.
They could make a role for you. It's okay. But thank you so much for coming on. And we're so excited to have you on HHM After Hours. Please let us know before you come out with your episode in acting because we want to know. The people here want to know. And we will keep up with you. Please tell us where we could keep up with you on all social medias and whatever.
So y'all can follow me on all social medias at Big Will Simmons, BigWillSimmons. Yeah, so make sure y'all
Period.
follow me on, like I said, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Big Will Simmons. You could DM me, say what's up. I'm gonna respond and just say yo. So, like I said, thank you guys. Thank you so much for bringing me into this podcast and to talk about and go through memory lane.
Yeah. No, we're so excited to have you. Honestly, like when Will told me that you were coming in, I was like, yes, yay! I get to interview Will because I never get to interview you.
Which Will's the older, by the way.
Yes.
So it's not me, just so you guys are aware.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much for coming on once again. Should we end it off with some ASMR? And also tell them what your favorite current anime is.
Make sure you go watch Blue Lock. Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan.
And Aaron is right.
And what is it?
Aaron is right.
Aaron is right.
That's not a show, but I'm just saying Aaron is right.
Okay.
That's for Attack on Titan.
Okay. I've never watched anime, but he's putting me on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Episode 5, baby. We out.
Episode 5.